Hello, my name is Fernell Edmond, and I am a student in Dr. Ming Zhang's EDU 709 Innovative Uses of Technology course. This screencast will cover my lesson on the Weebly website and my lesson on Smartboard technology. I have a PowerPoint slide here, but as you'll see, I will navigate back and forth between the PowerPoint and the website and my Smartboard lesson. Now, I'll just quickly share my rationale. The reason why I was really excited about creating a lesson on a Weebly website to start was because of the fact that I am extremely passionate about educating students from at-risk communities. And I strongly believe that a website and using technology like a smartboard can help to increase engagement, attention, and student academic achievement by using technology in the classroom. So these are probably the best resources that I found helped with me when I taught 6th and 8th grade science at the urban education where I currently am. And I found them to be useful because they help the students become engaged and they paid a lot more attention when we were using these technological innovations, and I wanted to make sure that I could share these resources with fellow teachers. So I will move on to, all right, so the functions of a Weebly. Basically, the purpose of Weebly is to facilitate website creation. So because of the fact that there are so many wonderful benefits to using a Weebly, for example, you no longer have to send hard copy newsletters home. You can just provide families with a Weebly web page information. They can go on and see calendars, updates, curriculum plans, recaps, instructions, material, examples, timelines, videos, classwork, homework, etc., etc. Students that are on vacation, sick, suspended, if they are slower learners or if they have special needs, they can access resources when it's a convenient time and location for them. If students are gifted and they want to move on, move ahead, you can create resources that stimulate deeper level thinking, like web quests for them to go on the website instead of stopping the whole lesson to focus specifically on one student that could really move ahead without your help. So I'll just quickly show you that this PowerPoint includes information about the technology and resources that you need. It includes the skills, knowledge, and pedagogy required of teachers and students. Skills that students will specifically be asked to use when they're on a website. And some of the procedures, advantages, and disadvantages of this technology. And effective instructional strategies, and then just how well the innovation transfers to teachers, subjects, in different school settings. Now, I like to skip that stuff. If you feel convicted to read it, feel free to pause the screen and go back, but I'd like to get to the good stuff. So this is the website that I created for this course. It has 4 pages. The home page, where I basically describe why I'm so passionate about working with urban education students and how I come from this community and how I'm really passionate about making a difference and helping educators to increase their effectiveness. You have 3 pages outside of the homepage. The technological innovations page, where I discuss, there we go, where I discuss, innovations that I feel are really, really helpful. So Weebly, Wiki, actually what I'll do is I'll just Weebly, Wiki, BrainPop, Smartboard, WebQuest, YouTube, simulation software, tool software, problem solving software, tutorial software, drill and practice software, and reference software. And really you can go through each of these recommendations that I make for technological innovations. I provide a little blurb on what that specific technology is all about, its main functions, and how it can be utilized in the classroom. And if you want to see a link or example, you can look at the web quest that I created, the YouTube video that I made, showing me teach some students using best practices that I recommended on the next page. You can learn about Smartboard, BrainPop, you can see my class wiki, and so on and so on. I'll just move on to the next page, best practice strategies. And on this page, I recommend strategies that can be used for all students in the classroom. But one thing that I think would be particularly helpful is to check out the video of me using whole brain teaching. This is by far, I think, the best strategy that you can use with all students in your class. And I move on to discuss best practice strategies that you can use with special needs, gifted, students that hate group work or they're shy, students that are afraid of technology, the know-it-all, or English language learners, which are all common student groups that you could come across when working in urban education communities. And I will finally move on to the recommended resources page, where I have neatly categorized 14 specific uses that teachers may desire in a classroom capacity. And there's almost 100 websites here that you can use to find lesson plans, presentation tools, to create a wiki, a website, to find course management tools, play academic games with your students, collaboration tools, assessments, graphic organizers, digital photo series, audiobooks, blogging tools, screencast software, photo management, and social networking or resource sharing platforms. Now, I won't go over every single website, but what I will say is not only do I provide the name and the link, which you can click and get directly to that website, but I also tell you in 1 to 3 sentences what that specific website is about. And why I find this particularly helpful is because when you are short for time, you really don't have the flexibility to be able to just go check out every single website that exists out there. Sometimes you just want to know a few really good websites that are tried and true that you can use, and you want to know what the purpose of the website is. So, for example, if I was trying to do a graphic organizer or a mind map, I would instruct my kids or just go to Inspiration Software or Bubble.us. And I've listed them in terms of my favorites. So for blogs, WordPress is my favorite. Then we have Google Blogger, blog.com, and KidBlog. So these are just my specific recommendations based on my experience in student and teacher capacity in urban education communities, and I find these are resources that are really helpful. Dr. Ming recommended these screencast resources. Thank you, Dr. Ming. I found them very helpful. I'm just going to quickly show you the final resources here for lesson plans, academic games, assessments, and photo management. And that basically covers my final page. So though you don't have to use the same platform I used with Weebly, I just found it specifically helpful to me. And out of all the websites that I've researched, I found Weebly to have the smallest learning curve and to be just very user friendly. Now I'd like to move on to the section on Smartboard. Let me continue this really quickly. So we have lesson 2. So the Smartboard can be used as a resource as well. As I said earlier, it can help increase attention, engagement, and academic achievement in the classroom. Now, the Smartboard is basically a board that is connected to a computer and a projector. It can typically be written on, and it can be written on without it ever being turned on, so it can be used as a whiteboard. But in using it to its full potential, you would plug it in, And in this PowerPoint, I do have the steps to use a whiteboard. If anyone, or a smartboard, if anyone is unfamiliar with those steps, feel free to take a look at those steps. But I basically just talk about the fact that it can project images, illustrations, videos, games, multimedia, presentations, and so on. And it can all be done with the click of a button. You can apply pressure with a pen, eraser, a finger, or any other smooth object. And the smartboard basically has a computer attached to it that picks up on what you're doing and it relays that information to the computer. So everyone can either see the objects that you are manipulating or see the text that you are writing. So I'm going to show you an example of how this works, and it's something that I've used in my classroom quite often. It's called BBC Technology. Now, this is a quick activity on the particle theory and the differences between solids, liquids, and gases. So if I were to play this video, you could see something that can be played, projected on the whiteboard, on the smartboard, and students can come up and literally press against the board to manipulate the objects with their finger. Oops, let's start it over again. Alright, so I like going to this particular site just because I really like their activities. And I would click.
The particle model helps explain the properties of the things around us. Press start to begin.
So I'd have a student come up and press the start button. Literally push up against the screen with their finger. And we begin the presentation.
Particles come in 3 different states: solids, liquids, and gases. In a solid, particles are held tightly together by powerful forces called bonds. See how they sit in a regular pattern and just vibrate about a bit on the spot? Now, give this little solid a shake and see if you can break it apart.
So a student would come up and shake it with their finger, literally press the solid up against.
Nope. The bonds between particles are holding the whole thing together.
This allows students to feel interactively engaged with the lesson because they know that they have the opportunity to come up to the screen and not just hear about how solids, liquids, and gases work, but actually physically interact with examples of solids, liquids, and gases. I'll just show one more quick one and then
Now, press the plunger and see if you can squash it.
So at this point, I'd call on another student to come up and use their finger to hold down the object to see if they could, just like it said, press the plunger to see if they could squash it.
You can't squash it either. That's because the particles are so close together, there's nowhere for them to go.
So that's just a quick little activity to show how I like to use the smartboard to help engage and increase attention for the students. Now, I'm just going to end with a quick smartboard video. It's a good idea to get to know your smartboard before using it in a classroom capacity. Now here we have the screen and we have the projector, we have the pen tray at the bottom. Moving on, we have a projector that can either shine towards the screen, which is great, but allows people to get in the way and distort the image if you happen to walk in front of it at a bad angle. So the projectors that shine overhead are better, they're more efficient, and have less disturbances. Now I'd like to move on to information about how and where different elements are located. We'll start with the pen tray. In the pen tray, we have several buttons. Now, on the far left, we have the on-screen keyboard. The next button that we have here on the far right is the right click button. In the middle, we have 4 colored buttons that basically show ink color, and a USB port that can be plugged right in underneath the pen tray. All of these pens don't have ink. None of the pens have ink, I should say. Meaning, if you lose a pen, you can substitute the pen for your finger or any other sharp object. Same thing goes with the eraser. It's not a real eraser, it's just a piece of plastic. So if you happen to lose it, you can literally use your hand to substitute the eraser and erase anything on the board that you write. Here we have the power button, the orient button, the help button, and the screen light that shows that the projector and the computer are properly connected. Finally, we have 2 really important cable cords. We have the USB and the VGA cord, which basically allow you to connect the board to your computer and the computer to your projector. So it's important that you have all of these when setting up your smartboard. Now we'll just finish off this lesson real quick. Here are the technology and resources, and like I said earlier, feel free if you want to read this for yourself to pause and go ahead and read through it if it will give you a better understanding of smartboard technology. So these are skills that are required of teachers and students, what the students are asked to do, the specific procedures. I just listed 10 steps that I found are important, the procedures to know how to use it, and then at the bottom we have an 11, which is just me referring to the help feature. Advantages, disadvantages, effective instructional strategies, and finally the ways that it's easily transferred to other teachers and subject content. I hope you enjoyed my lessons on Weebly and Smartboard and that you found it helpful. Have a wonderful day.